Okay, hello, good morning, and everyone's very cheerful this morning because the sun is shining, whoa, in Edinburgh, which is very nice. Right, let's just start off since we're sitting. We'll do a little bit of warm up from here, and then we're going to do some stretches on the floor, and I don't know what's going to happen. We'll find out. Okay, so let's start off with a lovely straight spine, and we're going to, if we need to, we're sitting up on something, if that helps us to get our spine nicely stacked, one vertebrae on top of the other. Be careful that you're not pushing your ribs out, so you want to keep the back of the waist back, and you want to think about your sit bones really descending, so you're not pulling up out of your, in my case, bolster, but you're actually letting your sit bones sink. But as you send your sit bones down, you get a commensurate lift up through the spine. So from the hip bones to the tops of your ribs, you feel that growing. And you should already now feel that little activation of your core muscles. Okay, we're going to inhale, shoulders up to the ears, exhale. And rotating. So we'll rotate the whole shoulders. You can let the arms move as well. You can bring the shoulders in a little bit, move them out, bring them in, move them out. So quite a big movement. Change the direction of the circle. Nice. And then finishing with the back and down, and stretch your arms, bring your arms onto your knees. Okay, now we're just going to do small little circles just of the shoulders, so the shoulder blades. So see if you can just rotate the shoulder blades. So you're not really lifting the shoulders very much. Little rotation in the shoulder blades. That's lovely. And then just change the direction of that. We can get so stuck and held in our upper back that we kind of forget that we can separate out these different movements. Lovely, and then release. Okay, good. Now stretch through your arms, let your hands come off the floor, roll your shoulders back and down. Get your left, check that your back of the waist, you're not pushing out, not sticking your ribs out. Not so high, Richard, just relax, bit more relaxed. Okay, and then we're going to exhale, look to the right. Breathing, shoulders down, inhale back, exhale, look to the left. Breathing, stretch, and back, okay. Again, look to the right. Keep your arms nice, keep your fingers nice and loose. Back to center, looking to the left. And release. Okay, just let your arms relax for a moment. Again, take the arms up. Exhale, right ear towards right shoulder. And back. Left ear to left shoulder. And back. Right ear to right shoulder. And this time look behind you. And back. Left ear to left shoulder. Look behind you. And back. Okay, and then just relax the arms, bring them back on the knees. You can just have them relaxed. Okay, so keeping that lovely straight body, we're going to bring chin to chest. So you drop your chin, but don't collapse your body. It's almost like you're bringing your sternum up to the chin. See if you can make contact. And then exhale, look up at the ceiling, really stretch the chin up. Long front body. And out. Now, chin to chest again, just clasp your hands. Keep the sense of the sternum lifting to chin, and then we'll just give a little stretch through the back of the head. Hold. Lovely. And then again, chin to chin. Clasp your hands and take them behind your back. And release. Okay. So if you're uncomfortable, then adjust your position so that you're still are comfortable, because we're going to hold this a bit longer. Left arm up, stretch that arm up to the ceiling, and then we're going to keep that left hip weighted, and we're moving over to the right. Rotate to look underneath your armpit. Breathing, very nice. And then change. Check that, yeah, don't over round the back. So think about bringing the left waist to the left so that the stretch comes fingertip to hip. You might feel it more in the hips that way. And then if that's okay, you can just keep leaning that, walk your hand away, your left hand, to get lower. Looking underneath the armpit. And release. Great. Now, if you can, we're going to sit on the heels. If that isn't working for you, then just build yourself up. So you can put whatever you need underneath, between your heels and your bottom to make that work for you. But if you can sit on the heels, lovely. And we're going to take the hands behind our back and let's clasp our hands together, squeeze the shoulders away. If it's not happening at all, you can just do the same thing from any sitting position. So you can, if you're going to do cross leg, just change the cross. So if kneeling isn't working for you, then you can just do it from any sitting position. Okay, so we're going to send the hands away and then just bring your tummy forward. See if you can come over your thighs. And then to come up. Yeah, so just go as much as you can. So for some people, it might just be something like this that you're doing. But if you can go more, then do it. So we'll do it one more time. So stretch the hands away, roll your shoulders back and down, squeeze your shoulder blades together, come forward, just lift your arms a bit, just wherever you can manage. If you can go all the way, then off you go. And then come back. Now, if you put something in front of you, your forehead, because now we're going to bring the hands together and turn the palms. If we can, push the hands together just as much as you can. Now, if that's really not happening, you can just start off with your fingers touching and begin to get a little turn, and then you'll start to loosen up in the hips, in the hips, in the wrist. Those of you that can, working your fingers up the back, and then I'm just going to lean back, open the chair. See if you can lean back a little bit more, let the sternum come up to the ceiling. That's lovely, Richard. Now, and bring your bring the spine as if you're trying to take the spine through. Lovely, and then we'll come forward onto our blocks. If you can go lower without the blocks, then great. Keep the hands pressing together, lifting the elbows. And then to come up, lengthening through the crown of the head. Lovely, and then release. So that's quite strong in the wrist, so just let your wrist have a little rotation. Okay. Now to counteract that stretch here, we'll just do, if you come onto kneeling, tuck your feet under, and then we're going to come into a squat position. So you can have some blocks or something to help you, or you can have a chair. And then if you can, yeah, let's stay on the tops of the toes for a bit. Spreading through the toes. Yeah, use something to lean on, and you can have like a chair or something, or a sofa. And then gradually, see if you can drop your heels further back. As you do that, keep the spread at the front of your feet. And then open your knees, let your elbows go down. And then we're just pushing slightly against the knees, just hanging there. Lovely. And then from there, let's see if you can come all the way up so that you're in Uttanasana, forward bend. And we're going to just bend our knees as we do that and let our body hang. So don't worry too much about the backs of the knees, let them bend. And if you want to, you can come up on a chair so that you're not hanging forward so strongly. If you can, hang, let your tummy go towards your thighs. And then get a feeling of lifting your sit bones up towards the ceiling. And that will give you the stretch at the back of the legs without locking your knees. Just keep them a little bit soft. So you're getting that feeling of the sit bones lifting, and you'll feel that stretch at the back of the legs. If you're okay, you can just clasp your arms together and just hang. Let your elbows hang. Keep sending your sit bones up to the ceiling. Lovely. And then we'll bring the hands onto the floor and then walk back so that we're now going into dog. Shoulders away from the ears. Again, you can bend the knees and just let the sit bones lift up to the ceiling and back, and then from there you can straighten the legs as much as you can. Let the heels drop down as much as you can. And get a feeling of lifting up your sit bones up and back. See if you can get your ears in line with the upper arms. Feel that stretch through the legs. Nice. You can come up, take the hands up a little bit higher if you need. That's nice, Hazel. Lovely. Yeah, Richard, you can have your hands on the chair if that's better for you. I can't really see because you're not sideways. Okay, now we're going to bring our shoulders over the wrists and then walk your feet back a bit and see you can sort of do a standing straight armed plank. Lovely. And then pushing back into dog again. And again, shoulders over the wrists. And then if that's okay, come on to one hand, lift one arm up. You've got the front foot on the floor. And then swap. And then again. Lovely. And then last one. And then back into our dog. So now step forward with your right foot. Let your left foot go on the floor. And just slide your left foot back far enough till you get a stretch through the left hip, front of the left hip. Breathe, that's it. Now you can use your blocks if that helps. So keep that right knee pointing up to the ceiling. Right knee over the right ankle. And just falling into the stretch in the left hip. Breathing. And then you can bring your elbow on your right knee to bring yourself to come back a bit. Yeah, you're already back. And you'll feel more strong stretch if you've got your shoulders above your hips. So you've got straight body. Yeah, you'll feel that in the front of the left hip flexor. Clasp your hands behind the back. Squeeze your shoulders together. Nice, and then release. Okay, let's just go back into pose of the child for a moment. Okay, so we'll go to the other side now. So let's do it from dog. So we'll come up into our downward dog. And this time we're going to bring the left foot forward. Let the right knee come on the floor. So you want to have that left knee your left foot far enough away so that when you bend, you get the stretch through the front of the hip flexor on the right hand side. If you're not getting anything, it does help. If you just sit up, you'll get more of a stretch. But you may find that you need a bit of time to warm into it, in which case you can come forward a little bit with your trunk, and then gradually when you're ready, you can come back. So don't go so much that you can't soften into it. So you want to be able to let your right front of the right hip just soften down, soften forward. Breathing into that stretch. And then you can sit up. Shoulders above hips. And then if you like, you can clasp your hands. And then release. Lovely. And then we'll just go into pose of the child again. A nice little stretch. It's quite hard to get that hip flexor stretch, but you get it in that position. And we'll do a nice little pose of the child. If you find sitting on your heels isn't working, then you can put something underneath you. Have something for your forehead so that you can comfortably soften into pose of the child. So it's really nice to have something to rest your hips on. You can build yourself up as much as you need. So that you're not stressing your legs, but being able to soften. If you can take your arms by your side. See if you can let your front ribs drop, sink down more and more onto the front of your thighs. Lovely. And then from there, we're going to lay on the floor on our tummy, stacking the hands. You let the forehead go on to the hand. Right, bring your forehead, let's bring our feet together and check that the tops of your feet are on the floor and just soften them. But bring your heel, soften the tops of the feet, but bring your heels towards each other. So we're going to squeeze in a little bit in the buttocks. So take your hands just in front of your shoulders and then see if you can roll up. Your elbows go out to the side initially and then rotate your elbows inward. So upper body working, rolling our shoulders back and down. And although you're activating your glutes a bit, you're not super activating them. So you're also doing the work from the upper body. Ujjayi breath. In through the nose, as if you were breathing in through the front of the throat, out through the nose, as if you were breathing in through the front of the throat. And then coming down, we'll have a rest. Stack your hands, maybe the other way. Just completely allow your body to drop onto your mat. And as you breathe in, just notice how your belly swells into the mat. And as you exhale, it rises away from the mat. So if you can soften through the front of your feet. Lovely. Okay, so we'll try that again. So bring your hands. This time, okay, so if you find that a little bit stressful, and particularly if you find it stressful on the lower back, we're going to do the same thing, but just take your hands further forward so that when you come up, you're not coming up so high. And you can get a feeling of pushing your hands as if you're trying to push the floor away from your body. So you can feel that in the upper back. And keep your legs relaxed. But if you were okay with that, you can take your hands further forward, come up again. So elbows first of all out to the side, and then rotate your elbows so they're pointing behind you. And then we're working to straighten the arms. But don't rush to do that. This is a more advanced state. If you need to, you can start off further away, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. You can also keep the arms slightly, the elbows pointing out. And then when you're ready, you can start to rotate the elbows in. So we're holding. Open the chin. Breathing. And then look up, chin up to the ceiling. And gently release. And we'll just relax. You can let your head go to one side. And we're going to allow the weight of the body, the weight of the front body, just to fall onto your mat. Let your breath as you breathe in swell into the floor, your tummy swelling into the floor, and as you breathe out, just notice the tummy lifts a little off the floor. So take a few moments to be aware of that. And then let's go third time. Finding the position that you can sustain that's not too strong for you. Elbows out to the side, rotate your elbows. Shoulders away from the ears. Straightening the arms if you can. Looking up, chin to the ceiling. Lovely, and then just let yourself relax. And we'll take the head to the other side if you had your head to one side. And again, we're just allowing the weight of the body just to fall into our mat. Noticing as we breathe in how the belly pushes gently into the floor, rises and falls on the inhalation and exhalation. Right, okay, so for this next one, we're going to need our little cushion and our belt. So we're going to just roll onto one side. So that I'm rolling onto my left side. You can have your knees slightly bent. So we've got a little loop in our belt. We're going to take it through. This is my right leg, so whichever leg which side you're not lying on. So we're doing like a sideways leg stretch. It does help to have something under your head, under your ear. Now you can have your knee bent a little bit. Take the arm inside and just see if you can get the sole of the foot to point to the ceiling. And then you can gradually straighten. And if you find that it's easy for you to get your legs straight, then you start to bring your foot closer over towards your face. You might be able to catch your toe, your big toe with your two fingers, two front fingers. And we're breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. So if you're finding that your knees not straightening, that's okay. Just keep it sustainable so that you're not causing your body to tighten, but you can find a way where you can soften a little bit with each breath. Shoulders away from the ears. Nice, and then release. So we'll come up and we're going to just switch side. So you can roll onto one side, or I'm just changing sides so that I can still see what you're up to. So we're going on to, in my case, my right side. And just see if you can have that right arm out, resting your ear on the cushion. And we're taking the left leg up now. So just make that loop as long as you need to be. Have your knees bent so that you can sustain that. And then gradually thinking about straightening that leg. Breathing. Taking the time just to warm into that stretch. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing. Ujjayi breath in through the nose. Out through the nose. And then if you can catch around your big toe. Lovely, and then to release, we'll just come up into sitting. Right, let's just do a sitting, a little bit of core work here. So we're sitting without, we want to sit directly onto the mat, so don't sit on anything. And then Catch your knees and just lean back so that your back's straight, and lift your sternum so you're not in a collapsing position like this, but you're in an open chest position. And then gradually lean back till your feet come off the floor. Lovely. And then feel your sit bones on the floor. Notice how you have to engage your pelvic floor muscles. So this is level 1, and there's already a lot going on, and if you find this quite hard work, then that's the level to stay in for now. If you want to take it up, we're going to stretch, straighten right leg, free the right hand, and then left leg, catching the right knee again, and then both legs straightening out, no hands. And then release, catching back your knees. Get a lovely straight spine. Lift your sternum a bit more, Hazel. So we'll do that again. One leg, the other leg, both legs. And then catch. Just make sure that you're not sticking your tummy out in order to do that. Lovely. And then we'll come back to sitting. So actually we're going to kneel. Bring the right knee in front of the left knee. Open the heel, so you're going to sit between your feet. Bringing the hands on the knees, sitting as straight as you can. Now if that position is not working, it's not going to work for you, you can land on something. So you've got that extra height behind you. And if even that doesn't work, then if you just straighten out your bottom leg and just take the right leg over so that your right knee is over the left knee, taking the foot as far back behind as you can. And you can do this from that position. Open the chest, and we're going to lean forward, taking it into a stretch. So if you've got one leg straight, you can still do that, leaning forward wherever you can manage, but you'll get the stretch more in the hamstring rather than the hip. Use your hands to help you gauge how far you sink into it. And then coming up. So we're going to switch over. If you want to do it what I call the frisky way, lift the arms up, and we're going to roll forward onto our knees and then just swap which knee's in front. So we're taking the left knee in front, opening the heels out to the side, and then landing on something if you need. So, but if you can get your bottom on the floor, then great. If that's not working for you, then you can have your bottom leg, in this case the right leg, straight, and have your left knee over your right knee and sit in that position. So if you're managing with both knees, then lifting up through the spine. Take the arms out to the side. I'm just going to hinge forward. Lovely. And then coming up. Yeah, you may notice that you feel it in the groin or in the hips. So it's quite nice to hold it for a bit because that helps things just to ease out. And it's when you first start doing this, you might think, oh my goodness, no way. But if you persevere and use what height you need and so on, you'll find that all the bits and bobs start to relax and soften, and then you'll realize after a while, oh, I don't need that height, or I don't need so much height, and gradually things will start to loosen up inside. Quite a few things are involved here: ankles, knees, hips. So it's very good for that. Right. From there, we're going to just give our legs a little shuggle. And we're going to just bring our right foot up, so into like a half cross leg position. And then this left leg, we're going to take back and have the back of the foot on the floor. So when you do that, what happens is you might find that you're listing over to the right hand side. So this is where you have something underneath your right hip. So you want to have both hips even. So you don't want to be listing over to one side. Now you can use your hand just to move your calf out of the way. And so the legs behind you, in my case it's my left leg, just really drop your left hip down and you'll probably feel that in the hip. If it's too strong, prop that right hip up. Just takes away the pressure. And then we're going to rotate to the right. So you can just have that left hand on the left knee. Now when you rotate, don't lift that right hip, that left hip, don't lift that left hip up. Keep it rooted. You can sit up as high as you need in order to get something happening. Okay, and then coming back to the start, we're going the other way. Pushing the right hand against the right knee, just rotating on the spinal axis. So we want lovely long spine, beautiful. Keep this, get a feeling as you rotate that your crown of the head lifts higher. But your sit bones, you keep them weighted. So the back of the waist, you're not pulling up from your sit bones. Lovely, and then release. Okay, great. So we'll switch side now. These positions are really pretty basic. You know, when you look at your children or your grandchildren, you know, you'll see they often do sit like this when they're playing. And obviously we lose the ability to do it because we don't sit on the floor so much in our Western society. But it is basically it's a really good test of, you know, how your muscles and every ligaments and knees and hips, ankles, feet are doing. And like I say, you can use whatever you need to help you get into it. So we're now taking that left foot in front on the right thigh, and then we're taking that right foot behind. So we're wanting to come onto the top of our foot. So we want the foot pointing straight back behind us, and we're actually on the top of the foot. Ideally, you want to be able to put a fist between your heel and your hip. You can use your hand just to move the calf out of the way to make that more possible. Okay, so if you find you're lifting off to the left, which is very likely, you can use a block or whatever to pop under the left side to enable you to drop that right hip down. So you want both hips even. And then we're going to rotate. Let's go to left first. Right hand against right knee. Check that your sit bone's descending, your back waist is not pulling forward. Soften your front ribs. And then back to center, we'll change side. So we've got left hand against left knee, turning. Lovely, and then release. Great. Okay, and then just ease out your feet. Give your knees, whatever, little rub. Well done. Right, so if you've got a chair, you can just pop your calves up on it, and then we're going to just take the right ankle in front of the left knee. So if you don't have a chair, you can just do the same, but you can use your hand to pull your knees forward. It's quite nice using a chair because it means you don't have to involve your arms and your shoulders, so you can keep them in a nice neutral position. Now, as long as you feel something in that right glute, then that's great. That's what this position's about. So we're just softening everywhere else, keeping everywhere else neutral. Keep a nice forearm, and we're just allowing that stretch and breathing into it. Just watch that you don't lift your lower vertebrae off the floor. Keep getting a feeling of them descending, and as you do that, you'll feel more stretch. If you can't drop your bones down, these lower bones down, then you want to just slide your foot a little bit further away. So you'll notice as you rotate the lower vertebrae, as you bring them down that way towards the floor, then that will increase that stretch. You can take your arms over your head if you like. As you do that, don't lift the back ribs. Don't pull up these front ribs. Keep them connecting down towards your spine. And we're breathing. Ujjayi breath. So we're in through the front of the throat, out through the front of the throat. In and out through the nose, as if we were taking it in and out through the front of the throat. Just check that nape of the neck's nice and long. If you find that your chin's sticking up in the air, that's an indication that it would help if you just had something underneath your head. Okay, let's change sides. So both feet back on the chair, and this time we're taking that left ankle in front of the right knee. So just readjust because each side is different and you may find you need to come closer or further away. If you're not using a chair, you can put a belt around your right leg and then pull the right knee towards you. So the same thing with that, the lower vertebrae, you want to just tilt them so that they're coming down towards the floor. And that will just slightly intensify the left glute stretch. So we're going to just soften and breathe into that. Just make sure you can feel something happening. Adjust the position. So you want to get the right amount of stretch that you can keep softening into. If you give yourself too much, what happens is you'll just tense up against it, which is kind of counterproductive. And if you don't go far enough, then nothing's happening. So you want to find your edge where there's enough happening, but you can still soften into it. And that's the way you begin to get shifts and changes coming in your body. Arms over the head. Breathing. Nice. And then from there, we'll ease out. And just check you've got enough room now, so you're in a straight line. Bringing your knees up. You can keep something under your head if you've got something there. And we're just going to take the knees to the left as we look to the right. If that's a bit strong for you to take the knees all the way to the floor, you can use blocks to land on. And again, we want to just soften into wherever you feel it. You might feel it in the hips. If you bring your knees up higher, more likely to feel it in the upper back. Just make sure that you don't lift your shoulder. Keep rotating into that right shoulder. Breathing. Nice, and then back to center, and we'll just go the other way. So we're rolling to the right now, catching the knees with any blocks that you find helpful. Rotate into your left shoulder. So your left shoulder stays down. If you lift your knees higher, you're going to feel it more. You have to work a little bit harder in the shoulder to keep that shoulder from rolling off the floor. If you put the knees a bit lower, you're maybe going to feel it in the hips. So it just depends where you want to feel that stretch the most today. Breathing. So again, the Ujjayi breath. As you breathe in, imagine you're breathing in and out through the nose, but just imagine you're taking the breath in and out through the front of the throat. Nice. And then from there, we'll just go into our Shavasana or corpse pose. You can bring something under your knees if you like. I like to have a bolster under my knees, but you can just lie, or you can just lie in a straight line. We're just letting the feet fall to either side. Tuck the shoulders under. Take the arms out to the side, and we're just going to let our fingers curl so the backs of the hands are on the floor. Let that lower jaw just fall away from the upper jaw, so there's a little gap between your lips and your tongue is soft in the mouth. That's lovely. And then let your breath just return to normal breathing. Allow the weight of the body to descend a little bit more each exhalation. Very gently, just going to get ready to take a deep breath, moving our fingers and toes, stretching the arms and legs, and then just have a big stretch, and then we can roll onto one side, just pop a cushion underneath your ear, take a little moment. And then we'll come up into sitting. Lovely. Great. Well done. And then let's just finish together. Thank you.